Hey everyone, I have Judy Sylvia on the line here today. She is gracefully agreed to be our Southwest Florida conduit. We did the Moving Out campaign, and I was excited to do this one because Florida was off the charts about which community people were most interested in, which was not a big surprise. So we're very excited to have Judy on the call today. Thanks for joining us, Judy.
Thank you, Paul. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate it.
So, um, Judy, how'd you get started in real estate?
Well, I grew up with a father who was a Boston cop. I'm the youngest of seven, and my dad was although he was employed by the city, he was entrepreneurial and got into real estate despite my mom being nervous as anything. So I kind of grew up seeing that. And when I lived in Massachusetts before I moved to Florida, I was a paralegal doing real estate closing at an attorney's office on Cape Cod. And I basically helped build his business. And when I moved to Florida, I said, I am not going to build anyone else's business. So I got into real estate, not knowing a soul in Florida and not knowing the area.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, good time to mention you have the not only do we have a connection down in Florida, but you got roots to Massachusetts.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Braintree and married the boy next door to our summer cottage on Cape Cod.
Oh, come
and
on.
and then we used to take vacations to Florida every February. Would load up in the station wagon, drive down. No, not sure how we ever made it in those station wagons, but we did. And then my husband and I moved here at the end of '88, so I have more orange juice in the veins than
Yeah,
New
yeah.
England. Yeah.
Well, I think that's good. As we talked about, it's, the making the connection to real estate agents in different areas. Everybody's got a little apprehension to that. You and I talked about that. And I think you having that connection to Massachusetts, just another little bow on top for people to, you get some a little more knowledge about where they're coming from. And I think the experience of making that move too, right?
Absolutely. It's been invaluable to have made that move, 1,500 miles, and to help so many people through the years because there's so many questions. It's nerve-wracking and
Yeah.
exciting and lots of logistics. So, yeah, I've really enjoyed helping people make that move to the sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know we'll get into it a little bit, but just the demographics, I mean, it was typically, people going down there for a second home, but we're seeing a change, right? People are now going to Florida for full-time residents.
Yeah, we at Cape Coral, I'm based out of Cape Coral, and it's pretty a year-round community. We
Yeah.
definitely do have people that have second homes, so snowbirds. We have some people that turn second homes into vacation rentals when they're not using it. But the median age here has come down. It's about 40 now. So when it was
Yeah.
first developed, it was made for a retirement community. But they kind of forgot they needed the younger folks to service the retired folks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Minor detail.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great place to live.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're like I said, we're seeing an outflow of Massachusetts. We did Charleston, South Carolina, same thing. Their average age is so low. I was surprised by it. So we're seeing that, right? This migration south.
Absolutely. I know for me, I hated the gray skies of the winter in Massachusetts. That would just get monotonous. So here we'll have like our summer is kind of like your winter, where we kind of hunker down in the AC. It gets really hot, but we'll have rain showers and then cool it off a bit. But gosh, if we go without sunshine for a day or two, we're getting withdrawals. It's funny
Yeah.
how you get used to it.
Oh yeah, you and I talked about that. I mean, once we change the clocks up here, it's brutal, So I think
Yeah.
it's a big draw for people going down there. Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned Cape Coral. I know we'll talk about other areas you serve, but I know Cape Coral's got a lot to offer, but when you hear about people moving to make the move south, you hear Fort Myers, you hear Naples. I mean, Cape Coral's got so much to offer, and I think, like you said, maybe it is because it's more full-time residents.
Yeah, and Cape Coral is one of the largest cities, landmass compared to outside of Jacksonville. So like brilliant vision of two brothers back in the 50s, the Rosen brothers, and they created a waterfront wonderland. There's over 100 miles of canals, and we have Gulf access canals, we have freshwater canals, we have what we call direct access, where no bridges, someone who wants to fish can get right out there. So there's a lot. It's just beautiful. It's tropical, palm
Yeah.
trees, sunshines, water. It's a great place for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I was glad we made the connection. And good time to mention we have you've helped a client of ours recently.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
nice. And just a little bit about that. We had a client referred down to Judy, and it was a little bit out of your market area, or maybe just a different market. And you gracefully, gave us the name for another agent, and that worked out perfect. So we appreciate that, but it's a good moment to mention to people that Judy can be a conduit for that Southwest. If she doesn't service that area, she can introduce you, right?
Absolutely. I think as realtors in Florida, we're used to people need to explore. They typically explore different areas. So usually I'll have a trusted advisor in the different spots in Florida. And likewise, they do the same because we want to make sure people, I think it's better if they come down, they drive around, spend a few days in different areas, and then get a feel. Usually they're just going to feel like, yeah, this is right. And they can tell. So we're used to people exploring Florida. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I think you just said it. I think there's a lot to make that move. You, it's hard to choose that area. And that's the biggest feedback I get. My wife and I have been exploring Florida for my daughter goes to Tampa, my in-laws are in Naples, like I mentioned. But we've been exploring the state overall because I'm just trying to get a good feel for some different areas. I think that's part of the apprehension is that willingness to explore a little bit and find the right area.
It's true. No, one thing our area has is the Red Sox are here in the winter. So, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
It's the Jet Blue Park. It's like the mini Fenway. So, we have a lot of people come in March for springtime, to catch the baseball games.
Yeah, no, it's good. And like I said, I love that area, but I think that's a good, I'm glad we're appreciative too, that you're willing to do that. I think a lot of people are apprehensive to connect with a real estate agent, thinking there's some level of commitment, and just the way you worked with our client and offboarded them very quickly once you knew what they were looking for. I think that should give, people we know, the people that know and trust us, some comfort that this isn't a hard sell. We're not sending someone down there and you're going to jam them into a house, right? This is you helping make
Right.
that decision. Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes, Paul, we have those discussions and we realize it's not the right move for them. And that's okay too. That's
Yeah.
part of what we do.
Yeah. And I think that's a big, we say it all the time. My wife used to say, who'd you talk out of buying a house today?
Yes, yes, I do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you do business this way, that's it. We do this so much. We know when you can feel the apprehension and it's just not a good time. And it's, when to take the pressure off. Sometimes clients are putting the pressure on themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many questions, and I really enjoy when people, we'll start a conversation sometimes a year before they make the move, and I'll have some suggestions for them. Maybe they'll fly in and spend a couple of quick weekends, and then it gets a little bit more, they can start to see themselves in a particular area. Then we narrow it down. But yeah, at first it's generic. They have to just even buy into, we could make this happen. We could, buy a place in Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And that's what I tell people too, is vacation down there. Get down there even along. It's so easy to get down there with JetBlue. You get on there for a 3-day weekend and check out some different areas. It doesn't have to be this big thing, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, why do you feel people are moving down there? I mean, we have some data to suggest why people are leaving Mass and going to Florida. But your boots on the ground. What do you feel like is the driving factor? To your area, maybe Florida in general.
Yeah, a couple of different things. First, the weather, the sunshine, it's always appealing. Palm trees, sunshine, beaches, it's hard to It's hard not to like that. But also Florida doesn't have a state income tax. So it can be a great place for retirees, trying to keep their cost at a certain set fixed rate, or, within reason, things change. Um, and then yeah, it's just a different, it's a healthier lifestyle, I think, because you're able to be outside and you're active and there's lots more opportunity to connect. And everyone is from somewhere else. So I know when my husband and I moved down here, we didn't have children yet. We didn't know anyone, but man, we got connected and developed a great community of friends that are like family. So everyone's from somewhere else. So it's easy to meet people and
Yeah.
make new friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, you haven't gone through that, and started your own business down there and had to make all those connections. I think that's a huge benefit for someone, outside of real estate that you can, help people with, help them to understand all these different types of communities that are down there.
One thing that I've loved to do is I've connected clients that,
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, this one would get along with this one. And all of a sudden, instant friendships. And
Yeah.
I love to connect people. So that's one of my fun things I get to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and Judy and I are part of the same very prolific real estate network across the country, and that's what we do, right? Our business is based on referrals and networking and creating a community around us, but also connecting clients like that. I think a lot of people don't realize that about real estate agents. So, it's interesting you tell that because that's what I do too, right? You try to find people that are and help them down there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then our service doesn't, of course, end when we find them the place to purchase or sell their home. That's just kind of the beginning. Recently, I had a couple from Colorado move here, and they ended up purchasing the unit sight unseen. They had flown in for 48 hours. We made an offer on something, it didn't come together. Another one came on the market. I FaceTime, they bought it. They came here in person and they had the movers coming. The next day, the sellers had prepaid for AC maintenance. So they had that person come out. And all of a sudden, they call me in a panic saying, the AC system has mold. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. I sent my trusted AC person. It
Yeah,
didn't,
yeah,
so we try to protect people because, just like anywhere, there's scammers out there. So that's one thing I always tell clients, listen, you're stuck with me for life. I want you to call me for the referrals of the plumber, the electrician, the accountant, the attorney, all of that good stuff, like you, Paul.
yeah, exactly, and that'll resonate well with the people that we connect with because they know that they expect that same level of service, right? We're there for people before, during, and after every transaction. It's not about transactions for us,
Absolutely.
and let's talk about that. You've been selling over 30 years, right?
Yeah, I started when I was 10.
Yeah, yeah.
I did. I started young, and both my children are realtors as well. So I guess it's a family thing now. My son's a realtor in Naples, and my daughter's a realtor in Wellington, over by West Palm Beach.
Oh, I love
Uh,
it. Well,
mhm.
anybody knows that is any familiarity with real estate industry is you're not around for 30 years unless you're helping people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really an honor and a privilege. I mean, let's face it, moving, especially if you're moving from Massachusetts to Florida, or there's a lot going on and it's emotional and there's twists and turns. And it's an honor and a privilege to walk beside someone and help them make that move. And it's fulfilling for sure to be
Yeah.
that
Yep.
resource.
Yep. Exactly. That's what keeps us going, right?
Yeah.
So briefly, we talked about Cape Coral. Maybe just some other areas you stretch out into that you serve. Again, you can refer outside of this, but I think it'd be good for
Yeah.
you to know.
So right around Cape Coral, we're in Southwest Florida. So on the west side of Florida, on the Gulf side, we have Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel, Captiva, Bonita Springs, Estero, Lehigh, North Fort Myers. So we're in Lee County. And then just to the northwest is Charlotte County, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, and beyond, and Naples to the south. So we have something for everyone. My son is a realtor in Naples. those prices in Naples are mind blowing. What you can get in Cape Coral on the water compared to what you can get in Naples. It's so funny. We always have this rivalry. Like,
Yeah.
send me your clients that want the McMansion on the water for what they can buy in Naples. But yeah, so there's a lot to choose from. Some are inland communities, some are, waterfront options. You can get like a Gulf access 2-bedroom condo for under 200,000 still. So it's still affordable.
Yeah, and I think that's big because I think, like I said, especially Boston area, it's Naples and Fort Myers. That's where everybody goes, and I think they get on there, they get sticker shock. So it's nice for them to realize that look, there's these bordering towns that are, there's quite a bit of savings, and you still have great communities. And like you said, Cape Coral has all that water. You can get on the water in so many different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have that international airport close by, our ballparks with our Red Sox, and so many parks and recreation opportunities as well in the beaches. So,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, the beaches are pretty good.
And just a little bit about the health of that market. I know, it's not the dogfight it has been. It's a little bit of inventory. Still, it's still healthy. It's you still like you find.
Yeah. I mean, during COVID, like you, Paul, I mean, we had like no inventory. Thankfully now, we're what I call like a balanced market. We have a really decent amount of inventory. So, it's not one where it's one where a buyer can like think about a house overnight. They can make an offer, we can negotiate some. I love to negotiate. So during COVID, I had to sit on my hands, but
Exactly.
now we can negotiate some good deals, and it's good for the buyer, good for the seller.
Yeah,
So a lot of choices out there right now.
yeah, exactly. And it's good to hear that there's some inventory. I think that helps. It was just too crazy. It was you're in a fire cooker trying to make a
Uh,
decision like that. It just wasn't healthy.
it was like, "Hi, I'm Judy. Welcome to Florida. You have 10 minutes to decide how high over list price you want to go."
Yeah.
Not one of my favorite markets at all,
No. Yeah, you're like, hey, we've been around a long time, and we houses are selling fast, but we don't like this market. It's not good for anyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I think people they're seeing that a little bit up here. It's still very competitive up here. Different markets are different, which I'm sure you're the same as yours, different price points, condos versus single families. But I think that's good to hear. I know our client we sent down, Eric, he had a great experience. He got a nice place, new construction. And I think he was surprised that, not surprised, I think he was pleasantly surprised that he had a little bit of choice. He had some time to think, like you said, especially when you're making that move. That's a big decision, right?
It is a big decision. Even during the craziness of COVID, I would always try to make sure people didn't make a mistake in that flurry of activity and that frenzy where you're feeling the pressure. So that's one thing, like you always make sure we're putting our clients first, and then doing something that we wouldn't let our brother or sister do, right?
That's it. Yeah. Well, part of our service is after the sale. So we're certainly not going to put someone in a situation where, we don't want to stay in touch with them. So I think that's
Yeah,
that's part of it. And
it's
again, I think
key.
I think our the people that'll be watching this, that'll resonate with them. And it is. It's about trust. That's all it is. We're just
Mhm.
trying to bridge the gap for people in some different areas just to make a connection and help them through that. You know that area, better than anyone probably. So we're excited that we have you on the team here.
Yeah, and I have that Boston boldness. So when someone wants to purchase something I don't like, they're going to see it on my face first. But I usually will say, "Okay, here's why I'm not liking this," and of course, they're writing the check. But so I'm not shy
Yeah, yeah,
about helping them make the right decision.
yeah. No, that's a big part of it too, right? Personality and style. I mean, I think you having those Boston roots is going to be a little bit of a connection there. There's no secret. We do communicate a little different up here.
Yeah.
Not so, not so fluffy.
Right, right, yeah. But our Boston clients can appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes the Midwest, I have to tone it down a bit.
yeah, right. You got to be a chameleon. I know it is interesting. That's the nice part of the business too, though. You gotta treat people they want to be treated.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Perfect. Awesome. That's
All
it.
right. Good deal. All right. Thank you, my friend. Take
All right,
care.
take care.